Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Pond, the awards editor of TheWrap. We're pleased to welcome you to our awards screening of Working Girls, the Belgian entry in this year's international Oscar race. We're going to be doing a lot more of these screenings in this very long award season, so please be on the lookout for those. And to make sure you're invited to all the future events, please check out our membership service, Wrap Pro. We're going to kick off today's event with the Working Girls trailer, and then I'll have a conversation with directors Frederick Fonteyne and Anne Paulicevich. At the end, they'll be taking questions from the audience, which you can post in the live chat area on the side of your screen. So before I introduce the guests, here's the trailer for Working Girls.
Enlève-moi ce maquillage. Mais tu ressembles à mamie, là.
Pas ça.
J'ai besoin d'un nouveau téléphone.
Parle-moi comme ça, tu l'auras ton téléphone.
Ah, mademoiselle, tu veux pas me sucer 5 minutes ou quoi?
Tu peux demander à ta mère, non?
Ah, c'est bon.
Bonjour madame, comme j'expliquais à votre mari,
Donc déjà, c'est pas mon mari.
c'est mon fils.
C'est notre fils. Et c'est moi qui la garde.
Quand on n'a même pas le bac, on peut pas espérer décrocher la lune.
Et
Circé, Zola, Hera, Sherazade. Pour les prestations, 100 € la demi-heure, 130 les 3/4 d'heure.
Plus vite.
t'étais où la nuit dernière? Toi, t'étais où?
Tu reviens encore une seule fois, je te jure que j'appelle les flics. Moi, j'ai des rêves, ok? Moi, j'ai toute la vie devant moi.
D'où Yaya Koussoul se réveille pas, putain!
Je sais pas qui vous êtes, ça m'empêche de vous aimer, ça m'empêche pas de vous aimer!
Ah, sale pute. Putre. Je t'ai fait un prix.
Vous vous connaissez?
C'est la babysitter de mes enfants.
Le gémissement, c'est comme la guitare, tu vois.
Que ce soit graduel. J'ai l'impression de te perdre, de te récupérer.
Oui.
Well, welcome back. It's my pleasure to introduce the filmmakers, Frederick Fonteyne and Anne Paulicevich. Welcome. Thanks for being part of this, and you know, thanks for a wonderful film. Anne, I know this started with you, so tell us a little bit about what the genesis was for this project.
Yeah, so I've always wanted to write about women and about heroism of women, but stories always come from different things, of course. And I have to say that when I was pregnant, I discovered that I would have a daughter, and it was a shock for me. I mean, not a shock because I didn't want a daughter. I didn't care about this girl or boy, but just because suddenly I realized I will put a little girl in this world, and I know what it is to be a woman in this world, and I know that women are targets of violence in this world. And when you're yourself, I mean, you just manage all of these things. But when you're responsible of somebody else, you just are so afraid. And I was so afraid to put this little girl in this world. And at the same time, it was also a lot of austerity politics in Europe. I mean, and I've seen all of my friends really struggling with that, and and try to make ends meet and to survive, in fact. And most of them, they were mother, and they are still mother. And it was even more something that I want to talk about them heroism, and the heroism of women, the heroism of mother. And once I read an article about women leading a double life and crossing the border between France and Belgium, and to have a kind of dignity in one side, they went in the other side to prostitute themselves. And it was like, okay, this is it. I have my story. I want to talk about these women. And perhaps it can be like, wow, you want to talk about heroism of women by talking about prostitutes, but it was really clear. Yeah, because they are heroes.
Mm-hmm. Right. I mean, it sounds like you put some of your own feelings into these characters, because I mean, there's one of the characters at a certain point is talking about her daughter is not going to become hamburger. I mean, that sounds like what you were just saying.
Yeah, and in the same time, of course, I did a lot of research, of investigation. I don't like this word. I would more say like meetings, because I didn't want to write about these women without meeting them, because otherwise, I mean, I was never a prostitute. I went never in a brothel before. And so I said to Frederic and to the producer, I won't write this story if I didn't meet these women. And so I spent a lot of time in Brazil, like around 9 months for the writing, but after more time, because we were always in contact with them and we exchanged a lot. But at the same time, I went also in, I don't know what it is in English, and not the suburb or
projects,
the projects, the place where it's this, all of this building, and I don't know what it's. So
the projects, I think, is
the project, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I few times I went from the project to the brothel and blah blah blah, and I met a lot of guys there, young guys, and I met also a lot of women, mothers, and one of these mothers told me, I never want my daughter to become a hamburger. So it came also from that.
Right, yeah. So Frederic, at what point did you get involved in this?
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning, it was not really a story for me, but when Anne told me the story, I really wanted to do it. And for me, it came from a lot of things also. But the affair of DSK, Dominique Strauss-Kahn, DSK. He had an affair also with sex workers in Lille, in the north of France. And I was following the trial, and what I really felt, it was that the voice of those women, the sex workers, nobody wanted to hear them. It was like if they didn't exist. So it was something I really wanted to give them a voice and to give them an existence, and to go to meet them and to make a film about these women. It seems nobody wants to hear them, and to give a voice to these women. That was the really beginning of why I wanted to go into that story. Yeah.
Right. So let's go back to Anne, to the research you did, or hanging out in the brothel. I mean, I would imagine that's not an easy world to just walk into and have them open up to you. So how did they become comfortable with you, and how did you get in the first place?
So it was not easy to enter in a brothel, but after when I entered in it, it was really easy, in fact. Yeah. So I have to say that, of course, you don't go in a brothel and ring on the door and say, hello, I would like to make a story with you. So no, so I was really stuck. Like I wanted to meet these women, and I didn't know how to do this. So I tried different things with association and stuff like this, and it didn't work. And once it was, like crazy story. I was in a theater and I met a girlfriend, and she told me, what did you do today? And I said, I tried to go in a brothel. And she said, oh, yeah, why didn't I think it before? I have my cousin is the nephew of one of the biggest pimp in France and Belgium, Dodo La Saumur. And he's here tonight, and I'm going to introduce you to him. And I was like, okay, yes. And so I was introduced to him, and he was a guy living in Singapore normally, like crazy stuff. And it was really strange, but he said, of course, you want to meet my uncle? Oh, no problem. I was like, okay. And for the first time in my life, I was so surprised that I entered home, and because we are partner in love too, in life. And I wake up Frederic, and I was like, I am going to meet a pimp, like that's not it's not normal. And so I met him, and I told him, okay, I have no interest to you. I mean, I don't want to tell your story. I don't care about this. I want to tell the story about women. And he told me, okay, I have to ask them. And I phoned him 2 days later, and he told me, okay, we are going to meet in Turnout in Tournai. So it's in Belgium, in the border, and we will go in 2 or 3 brothels, and we will have a little lunch. I will pay the lunch, but not too expensive, please. And so I went there, and it was not so easy first, and it was really strange. And in the third one, really at the end of the day, it was a brothel run by a young woman, and he introduced me. We went in the girls' sitting room, and he introduced me like, it's Anne, and she's a script writer. She's not a journalist. She's a script writer. Because they don't like journalists, because the journalists, they always come with an idea of what they want to tell. Mm-hmm. And they say, but we are also script writer. And the clients are also script writer. You just have to read this. And they gave me a script from a client, a teacher from university. And I just sat down in the armchair, and I read the script, and I was listening all of the conversation. And after, when we left there, I just went to the woman, the runner of the brothel, and I told her, please, can I come back, but alone and just with you? And she said, okay. And after, I came back, and it was one of the most incredible experiences in my life. I met incredible women. This woman I met, the runner, now she left the prostitution, and I think thanks to the movie too, because she was prostitute at the time, sex worker, and it was an incredible meeting. And in fact, after I was with them a few days during the week, and it was really easy because they have nobody to talk with. So because they have secret life, hidden life, and hidden life, and so they can't tell them their stories to their family, of course, to their boyfriend, and not to the client, of course. And so I was there in the sitting room, and they were talking to me. And it was, I mean, every time I left the brothel, I felt so overwhelmed, mm-hmm. Because I didn't understand in the beginning why, but after I understand, because they gave me the trust. They gave me the trust that I will tell their story, and it was just incredible. And I remember once, after a few months, one of the women told me, but how did you arrive there? Because normally it's impossible to arrive there. And I just retell the story and say, okay, that's why.
Yeah. So Frederick, how do you feel when your partner wakes you up and she's so excited that she gets to meet a pimp?
I have to say it was very strange. I mean, no, but all the process of I'm going there, all those months, and because emotionally it was very, very, very strong for her. So when she came back home, she had to tell me a lot of stories, and I have to say that sometimes it was too much for me. But then Anne made me go there, and I met this woman also, and then I understood, because when I came back, I had to talk to her a lot, and it was very, I mean, of course, a strong experience to meet them, but all the process was quite very, very, very intense. Yeah.
Yeah. And did you have any part of the script or outline written before you went in, or did you have any?
Yeah.
Did you have a sense of what the movie was going to be like before?
Yeah, and I think that was really important, in fact, because otherwise I will be just I will be with so much stories at the same time, that I perhaps wouldn't know how to tell the story. But in fact, I read this article, and I said to Frederic and after to Jacques-Henri, the producer, I want to tell these stories, and they say, okay, go for it. And so I wrote. And I choose the characters, I choose the stories, and of course the stories came, and I think that's really important. I wanted to talk about women, and so it's stories about women. It's not stories about prostitutes. It's story about women who work as sex workers. And so I wrote all of the outline, and after I met these women, and what they gave to me, it's all of the details and all of the things I couldn't even imagine. But and something just crossed over, you know, what I wrote and what they told me and what I lived with them. And yeah, I remember, for example, once one of the women told me, "Do we give enough?" Like they were like, okay, because it was kind of of a shield, you know, for them that it was a fiction. It is a fiction. So because if you arrive and you're with a camera, they can't speak because they have to. It's secret life. So because it was a fiction, it is a fiction. They had the freedom to speak, and they knew that they could speak and that they will not betray them because we had this specific relation. And what is incredible is sometimes I met women for months, and sometimes I met women for just one night. But because they were talking all together, always when I came there, they knew, okay, it's Anne, the script writer, and they knew why I was there. And all of them told me their stories outside of the brothel, and of course inside, what's going on inside. And and they were the first to read the script, in fact, just before Frédéric and before Jacques-Henri, because I was like, when I finished the script, I came there and I told them, okay, it's yours. I mean, we did it together. So now, before to go further, I want to be sure that I respect your words, your story. So please read it and tell me what you think about it. And I remember the runner just was sitting on the sofa and she was reading the script, and you know, it was this going on and off of the other women, and she was reading and she was like and laughing and going on, and at the end she'd say yes. And all of them, I let the script there and I say, okay, if you have something to say, it's yours.
Yeah. So after they all read it, did any of them ask for changes?
They asked for one change, and I'm not sure that really respected it, but I mean, we discussed after. They just said, yes, please, the red guy, the red hair.
The guy with the red hair.
How do you say? The red hair guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, please, make him suffer. and I tried to make him suffer much.
We tried.
We tried, but yeah.
Right.
That's what the only task, in fact. Otherwise, they told me, well, I remember one who told me, how did you do that? How did you make them speak as we speak? And I say, it's from you. I mean, it's, yeah. And I remember also I met one woman just one day, and she was just there in this Brussels for a few days, and I met her one day, and she was really fond of literature. And we were just two of us in the sitting room, and we were living room, and we were talking together, and she told me her story. And after she said, can I read please the script? And I say, of course, it's here, it's for you. I mean, and so she began to read, and a client came, and she went, and she was chosen by the client, and she went in the bedroom, and half an hour later she came back, and she just continued to read. And at the end, she closed the script and she said, wow, I was just thinking, who is the man? Which man was killed? And so, yeah, and I was like, okay, so something is working in the script, because she was thinking of it during all of the, yeah.
Yeah. So how does the collaboration work between the two of you? I mean, I know, Anne, you're credited as for artistic direction, and Frédéric, you're credited as director. So how do you work together?
Yeah, at the beginning, Anne wrote the script, and then she made the artistic direction, and I was supposed to be the director of the film, which I still am. But in the middle of the shooting of the film, we really realized and decided together that we would sign the film together, because we made it together. I mean, for many reasons, and also for there were things I I was on the set, and I was directing actresses, and but there were things that even actresses would address to Anne because she was a woman, and they also told me, no, you can't understand that. So it was really something. But the process of making it made it clear that it was something we should do. We did it together until the end of the film. I mean, we shared all the process of even editing and the sound making. And I don't think this film was possible to make alone. It's really, and I think it's interesting also this film would have been done by a man and a woman. I mean, a couple also. Because I think also I made a few films before, and people would say, sometimes they didn't know me. They said, oh, I thought it could be a woman who made the film that I did before. And I maybe I didn't know already the word female gaze, but maybe I had it already because it was quite an obsession for me also to go to what I am not and to try to understand what is the relation with a man and a woman. But so it was something, but it was an evidence that we would sign it together. It was on the work. It was like that.
Yeah, and yeah, it's funny because I was long time ago an actress, and when I met Frederick, it was in a workshop of how to be in front of a camera, and he didn't understand a word of what I was saying. Like he said, okay, to the people, you come with a story, and we will work on it. And I spit it off my story, and it was like, I don't understand a word, and I was, and so he told me, okay, now I don't know, just write it. And so I wanted to be an actress, and for 2 weeks I was just writing my stories that he could understand a word that I was saying. And so, in fact, and after it became more and more between us, and so, in fact, I enter in the script writing thanks to Frederick. And I say that I never thought before that I would direct a movie, you know, and perhaps also because it's in the culture. I mean, to say as a woman, I can do this or I can do this. Yeah, I'm coming from a really traditional family, and I had to serve my father on the table, and you know, it's to affirm, to say I'm here, and I think, and I have ideas. It's not so easy, in fact. And with Frederick, that's true. That yeah, we met, and he told me, I want to know what you think, and I want you to tell me and to tell to the other. And in fact, with Working Girls, we arrived to the process that after a while, he said, okay, you have your place on the stage too, on the set. And when because I remember that he was the one who told me, "Are you agreed to sign the movie?" And I was like, "Of course, but it's my movie." Yes, they gave me their trust, and that's why I wanted always to be on the set. Although it's because I was like, I have so much confidence in Frederick, but in the same time, I'm sorry, you're a man, and so that's true. They gave the trust to a woman, and I didn't want to betray them trust, and that's true. Also, that with the head departments, all of the head department in the movie are women, and it's just we didn't think of this before. It was just like an evidence, and also the actress, like Frederick said, they needed sometimes just to talk to me, and I felt like they need to talk to me because I was responsible of what they had to pass through because I was a script writer, but also they wanted to talk to me because they said, yes, like they say, okay, now this is a story between women. And
Yeah, right. I mean, obviously in depicting the lives of these women, you have to show what they do as sex workers. And, you know, there's a long history of showing sexual activity on screen, not through the female gaze, but through the male gaze, and often in an exploitative manner. I mean, how did you work to change that?
In a way, I think what Anne did, I mean, to go 9 months there in the girls' sitting room, a man couldn't do that. I mean, it's a place where men don't go, and that was one of the main thing. It's to take them as also as women, not only as sex workers. I mean, also what they did in their other part of their lives. So it came from you. It came from you, and also it was the fact that I could go there in that place and see this particular energy, which has nothing to do with what they do with the client. I mean, it's completely a place where nobody goes. I mean, and that for me was the center of the film, just to capture this life and this energy they have together when there is no man. And that was not possible, I think, as a director, to go there and to meet them and to feel that particular life and energy. I couldn't do it as a man, I think.
No, but and also where you're right. I mean, cinema was made by men. Literature was made by men. I mean, all of the thought were made by men.
All of the what?
The thought.
The
thought. Yeah, we were educated, me also as a woman, to think as a man, in fact. And so we have the fantasy of a man too. So I think perhaps 98% of movies about prostitutes and also about women are made about men, and so about the fantasies that men have about women or prostitutes. And so it was not a decision in first, but it was just an act. Like, I'm a woman and I went there and I met them, and they would not, like Frederick says, they would never give what they gave to me if I would be a man. I mean, it's normal. When you're between men, you don't talk the same when you're with women. And when we are together with women, we don't say the same. So it was like, I remember the first time the DOP came with me, because all of the head department, and as I said before, there are women, so it was a really big chance, because otherwise it would have been the same with the meetings. When they came with me, when Juliette DOP came with me, I remember it was a really, really sunny day. And I phoned the women there and I said, okay, can we come today? And they said, yeah, you're welcome. And we went there, and I remember the runner told me, oh, you know what, we are going to make a barbecue. Barbecue? You know, when you, yeah, we are going to make a barbecue. And I was, okay, yeah, if you want. And we went there and we were in the little outside, and we did a barbecue. And we were 1 hour together like this. And after a while, just a client ring on the door. And suddenly the women were like, okay, they went to the client. And the Juliette, the IOP, just looked at me and she said, oh, shit, I forgot that I was there, that I'm there. You know, because we were just chatting between girls, in fact.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a wonderful detail in the film when there's a client shows up and suddenly they all put on these painfully high heels. I assume that was something that you put in there because you saw it happen.
Yeah, of course. I saw it, and it is. Yeah, can I use this comparison, this parallel comparison? I mean, like, you know, when you wait before to go on stage, you're with your slipper and you're with your and when you have to go on stage, you just put your heel and go on stage, and that's what we do as actresses. That's what we do as women, in fact. You know, we are at home and we are with slipper and we go outside and we want to look like what we think we have to look like. And we look like what also we think men want to see from us. And what the prostitute, the sex worker do when they cross the when they go through the door, they go in the cliche of the fantasy of what the men are waiting to.
Yeah, and that's why for me it was so interesting to go there in the sitting room. It's that there, I mean, as Anne said, they play a role for the client, but there, when they are not playing a role, there was for me as a filmmaker also a place where there was a moment of truth, which was not playing a role, which was just women together, as in the film, a kind of sorority, or it's not only women who are together, and I mean, but there was something that for me was so true that I thought the whole world was prostitution. But there was a kind of truth which couldn't be told, and it was very strong. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, for example, a woman that I met one night, and we smoked a cigarette together outside, and she told it was an incredible story. She was sex worker before, and after she was just a runner of a brothel, and after the brothel just closed the door, and so she came back as prostitute because she needed money, and she needed money for her mother that lost all of the money in gambling, and she was also working in bakery,
Mm-hmm.
and she told me, it's really important for me to work in this bakery. Also, otherwise, I would lost the contact, sense of reality. But she told me also, while I'm here in the girls' sitting room, it's the truth. And outside, when I go outside, I see all of the people with masks. Yeah. And I remember when I went out after that night, and I had to go to Paris at this time. And I was in the metro, in the subway, and I just see all of the people, playing role. We are all playing role all the time.
Yeah, right. So at what point did you decide that this movie should open with them, burying a dead guy?
Oh, from the beginning.
Really?
Yeah, because in fact, I remember when I was pregnant. I always come back to this. I mean, I did this movie for my little girl. When I was pregnant, somebody told me, you will see, when you will have your daughter, you will never watch movies and series at the same way. Some things you couldn't see anymore. And I remember I'm a serial and cinematographic addict. I'm not sleeping so much, so I'm always on my computer and watching things. And after a while, it was true. I was so fed up to see women killed on the beginning of a story just because it's a good beginning for a story, And I was like, but what this kind of scriptwriter could think stuff like this? They have to go more and more, like they cut the throats, they just cut the bodies, they throw in and what it's really good, it's if you kill a woman, and even better if you kill a prostitute. Wow, this is the really good beginning for a story. And I was so fed up that I said, okay, I want to inverse to this, and I want to kill a man. And I have to say also that I just went through a really toxic friendship and working relationship with a man that he really destroyed me, and I just wanted to kill him. So I think that it was better to kill in the screens than to kill in life for him and perhaps for me too. No, and I really wanted to change the paradigm, in fact, and that's really amazing because it was a big problem when we show the movie. Mm-hmm. For some people, like, but they kill a man, and I was like, yeah, and what? I mean, we are in a fiction, and you don't have problem when we kill women. You don't have problem when we kill women in the fiction. You don't have problem when we kill a woman in the real life. But you have problem when women in a fiction kill a man. Wow. Mm. Please, can you explain me?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like the women told you they wanted you to make one of the characters suffer. You had your own character you wanted to make suffer in your movie.
Elles t'ont
Oui.
demandé de faire souffrir quelqu'un. Est-ce que tu as eu envie de faire souffrir quelqu'un?
No.
No.
No. I just wanted to play with the genre, you know, like I said, that just in verse. Normally we see mafios guy killing a man and putting in the hole and
concrete.
And the concrete, and we see in all of the series a woman killed first there. So I wanted to just change the paradigm. I didn't want to make a man suffer. I mean, it just it came from the story that I love all of the characters that I wrote. Really, I mean, but of course, all of them have a lot of default, and sometimes it's too much. And it's just that the women I met, they didn't have a good relation with men. I mean, they could fall really in love with men. Sometimes they told me how disgusting were men. They hated men, and at the same time they loved men. And it's not that I wanted to make somebody suffer. It's just coming from the story that they didn't behave well. And at one moment because I think that we are talking perhaps to people that didn't see the movie, so I can't do the spoil. But I mean, these men that we see in the movie, sometimes they don't behave well, and they just had to do something to save themselves. And it's not that a crime that they decided before. It's just a crime coming because they had not another solution. Because when you have violence against you as a woman, when you're raped, I mean, if you go to the police, the first thing that you're guilty. And if you're a sex worker, you're even more guilty, because in the imagination of people, sex worker can't be raped, and that's false, completely false. I mean, if you don't accept something, you're raped. And we are talking also about rape in the movie, and it's really strange because perhaps for people it's not so clear, because we have a rape in a couple, and it happens, and it's not so easy for people to understand that, the rape in a couple or in an ex-couple. And we have also a rape on a prostitute, on a sex worker, and for people it's not so easy also to understand that. So I don't know if it's clear enough.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, right. I mean, the narrative structure of the film is very interesting, the way that time is fractured, and we'll jump back and forth a little bit and revisit scenes from a different angle later. How did you decide to do that?
So it was also from the beginning, because first I thought that I would write a series. And I mean, I think sometimes that you have more innovation in series than in movie at this time. And I'm quite proud that to use the innovation in series to put in movie, because I love also, of course, movie. And in fact, I wanted to do this, because of the idea of sometimes you leave something and you're just in your life and you don't understand the person just next to you, but because you don't know what he is living or what she is living. And so it was a desire to show the synchronicity of life when you're living something, when you're passing through some terrible stuff. Perhaps sometimes you don't understand the other one, and it's how to open your eyes of the other one. And I have to say that it was a decision before I went to Brussels, but after, when I went there, it was just incredible, because I mean, this stuff, it's just huge. You're in the girls' sitting room. Me, I was just there in the girls' sitting room, but they went in the room, in the bedroom. And when I was there talking with different women, and another women, a few other women were in the bed sitting room, and I was like, what are they living there, you know? And I came back to my house, and I was like, me, now I am in my house, and they are still there. What are they living there? And yeah, and I wanted to show by this kind of process. I mean, for example, we begin with Axel, and she's really stuck in her life. Like she can't see anything else because she has so much problem to solve. And it's because one of the other girls just fell down, and she understood that okay, that's wow, that's enormous what's happening in her life. I have to be there. And so she opened her eyes to her. And so it's how you can be together, because in fact you just look at the other one. And I think it's something that we wanted to do also with this movie. Just, yeah, please open your eyes on the other person that you don't know.
Yeah, right. So before we turn this over to the questions from the audience, let me add, have the women at the brothel where you spent all that time, have they seen it?
So I'm not so much in contact now with all of them, because, you know, because of the secret life and because they are traveling a lot and they're moving a lot. But I'm still really in contact with one of the women, and yeah, she was there for the premiere, and she has seen the movie, and she was there also at one
during
of
the process of the film.
During the process, but she has seen one of the editing of the film, you know, in the middle of the editing. And I remember I was close to her when we have seen one of the first editing on the movie, and it was really, really something. And after she told me, yeah, all of the women have to see that. All of the women have to see this movie. And a few days later, she told us that she will leave the prostitution, and that she decided that, okay, it's not going to be easy, but she wanted to do something else. And I really understood at this moment that she read the script, she was on the process of the movie, like all of the women I met. But to see the movie, it was like a mirror on her life. And and she has seen the movie after, at the premiere of the movie, and it was amazing. And I asked her, okay, it's okay for you? And she said, yes, thank you, to show us differently that always they show us.
Yeah. All right. So how long are you going to wait before you show it to your daughter?
She saw a few. She plays in the film. I mean, she's the daughter of Axel, and so she saw a few things on the set. But of course, we will wait a little bit.
Yeah. Sometimes she say, "Please, Mama, can I see it?" And I say, "No, it's not for you." But last time I remember, because of course she heard the parents talking so much about this movie, like sometimes she's just fed up, you know, and once I told her, yeah, perhaps the next time I will do a kind of romance. And she said, no, you're not this kind of scriptwriter, Mama. And I said, what kind of scriptwriter am I? And she said, yeah, you want to tell a story, like which story? What is the story? And she said, for example, in Working Girls, you say to women, they have to fight. So I was like, so
she understood
in 4 or 5 years, she can see it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see if we have questions from the audience. They'll put them up here on the screen. Yeah. Can you tell us about the casting? Yeah. I mean, obviously you have 3 amazing actresses in your lead roles. How did you find them?
Yeah. I mean, it was the main thing to see who could take those voices of what Anne has written. So yeah, we had to find very crazy good actresses, and they came in the film because in French you have a good meaning. They just came in the film when we gave them the script. Sarah Forestier and Noémie Lovsky and Anna Manon, all of them were very different, but they had something, I think, to defend also with what the story was talking about. So it was really a meeting with what was the story saying, and they wanted to be in it. And
I think also because most of the time people ask the question, why didn't you ask a real sex worker to do the movie? And I mean, we didn't ask them because it was really clear that they have this hidden life, and also hidden life. Yeah, sorry. And so we decided, and we had the chat with them too, and they really participate to the casting too. You know, we always show the different casting the different cast, and they give them their opinion. And in fact, we decided that we wanted really amazing actress, because we thought that what they had to go through, it was wow, really strong. And that's who, when Frédéric says they just arrived, it's that we contact, for example, Sarah Forestier, and after 30 pages of the script, she just phoned Frédéric and she said, I want to do it. I didn't finish the script, but I want to do it. And I want to do it because I have something to say as a woman about violence against women. And as Frédéric say, in fact, first they read the script about women and what they want to defend as women, as actresses. And after they met these women, and they decided also to put their voice on, to take their voice in them.
Yeah.
And
for me it was very important not only to take actresses who say, oh yeah, I want to make a role. I mean, Sarah, Noémie, and Annabelle, but Sarah and Noémie are really actresses obsessed by truth, and so it was really it was really a strong journey to go through all the emotions of they had to go because of what the characters live in the film. And it was really a very strong shooting with them, to give them the freedom to explore the borderline where those women are in the film. So it was really with the actresses, for me, an obsession. Also, I had to, when I came back from when I met these women, just to push life into the film and to make it alive and to make it crazy as what I felt when I was there. And it was a real work of not only improvisation but also looking for this truth and this double life I felt there, because I think those women live twice. I mean, it's I would say larger than life, because they have to stand with what they live, and also I think what those actresses did was really to defend the dignity of these women, and it was really a fight to defend that, because they are in a situation where dignity is quite difficult to get standing, and they did it.
And I have to say also that we are always talking about the incredible casting of women we have in this movie, but we have to say that we have also incredible men and incredible families, and we worked a lot to find the right person for each role and to create real family. And me, I have to really thank also what the men on the movie give to the movie to be supportive. The main role, because in fact
usually it's the contrary.
It's the opposite. I mean, it's a man and you have the woman supporting the man, and these men, they accepted to support women and to also to go in the dark side.
Yes.
And so it was amazing.
Okay, well, I think we have time for one more audience question. Let's see. Yes, did the women that Anne met while researching have common reasons for becoming and staying a sex worker? I mean, were there stories similar in why they were doing it?
No. I mean, they all have really different stories, and you can write a book about all of the stories. But perhaps one of the things in common is to survive. Really, I mean, it's a question of money. And they all have in common that they don't want to be victimized. They are fighting. They are warriors, and perhaps sometimes, most of the time, it's something bad happening with the old society and the man and everything. And it's really hard life, but they never want to see this hard life. They want to fight, and they are fighting a lot for their families.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think on that note, we need to end it. But thank you very much for being part of it and for a really powerful and I think important film.
Thank you very much also.
Thank you. Yeah.
And for everybody out there who has joined us and is watching, it was great to have you. And please check out our free trial TheWrap Pro. And join us for more of these screenings. You can see what's coming up at our screenings page, which is screenings.thewrap.com. So, Frederick, Anne, thank you very much. And